Hi, I'm Lori Olson, and I'm the author of How to Be a Caregiver for an Aging Parent with Dementia. And it's all maintaining sanity and dignity for both you and your cared. It's all about the quality of your life right now, and it's the quality of your life and your loved one. Even though that seems completely impossible probably for you now, while you're in the trenches, warfare that you're waging, and you're in command, but maybe you feel like you're having a losing battle. So we're going to start with how you can, today, on this fourth video, we're going to start with how you can start becoming more aware of your choices, identifying them, and how to start fortifying yourself. Because we did that analogy with the oxygen mask dropping down. You got to put that oxygen mask when you're in an airplane, in disaster, you got to put it on yourself first. And this is how you start. You're going to start with increasing your self-awareness. Now, that may seem like puzzling to you. You may say, well, for goodness sakes, I'm very self-aware. I know what's going on. I'm in charge. No, I'm talking about your emotional well-being, your emotional awareness about the way you perceive things, the thoughts that go through your head, and whether they support you or not. Now, I know there's a lot of you that say, ooh, psychobabble, I've read all these inspirational books. Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to really invite you to listen, even though you might have a tendency to say, I know all this already. Well, that's fine and good. You may know it, but are you doing it? And if you're not doing it, that's why it doesn't work. It does work when you implement the steps. And please believe me, it is so important that you do, because there's no magic wand. Something's going to cure your situation, but you can either drive yourself in a more positive path, or you can aid in your own destruction. Now, you certainly don't want to do that. You don't want to be an aid in your own destruction. So let's really start with the self-awareness. Self-aware. And this starts with being aware of how you perceive things, what your mood is, how your feelings are about. Okay? And this is a lot to know about this, but what I want to tell you is that there is no right or wrong when it comes to feelings. There is no right or wrong. And if you're aware that you're very angry or bitter or have very ugly feelings against the one you're caring about, hey, that just is. That's not right or wrong. Feelings are like a thermometer. They're just giving you information, giving you feedback as to what's going on. And if you're in ugly feeling mode, hey, that's pretty good feedback to say you're in crisis. So that's why it's a good time to stop and say, what am I feeling? An honest look at what are you feeling. Don't judge yourself about it. Feelings aren't to be judged. They're not right or wrong. They just are. Now, of course, if your behavior acts out, because I'm angry and you snap and you act in all kinds of destructive ways, that's not good. Because we are responsible for our behaviors, but we're not responsible for the thoughts and feelings that pop into our heads. We need to be curious spectators. You need to be a curious spectator of your feelings and go, wow, what's that about? What's that telling me? So that's the place you start, square one, self-awareness. What's that about? What does this mean? Am I overwhelmed? Because when you start figuring that out, that's a better path than just trying to control emotions. I'm not a fan of trying to control emotions. Controlling what? Pushing them in a closet? They're still there. They'll come out again, bigger and more furious because you didn't listen to what was going on. Like you wouldn't put your hand on a hot stove and leave it there, would you? Or try to control the pain? Hey, that doesn't make any sense. Well, when you have emotional pain, it doesn't make any more sense than leaving your hand on the stove or ignoring it or trying to anger management, pain management of it. You've got to listen to that message and say, what is it that I've got to do? And there are a lot of things you can do. But you got to start by being aware that there's a problem. Say, what's the problem? How can I handle it differently? And there are answers to that. But you got to start by stopping ignoring yourself. You got to be a little self-indulgent here. Pay attention to yourself. Find out what's this all about. You'll be surprised. Be surprised how often you've got maybe some pretty powerful thoughts going through your mind that aren't being very nice to yourself. And we'll talk about that next. In the next video, what you focus on is what you get.